I am taking you to the library. We have some books to return. I have books that I haven't read yet, but I do need to return them for various reasons. So we've got Josephine Taze-Bratt Farah. I loved her The Franchise Affair, and I really wanted to read her other books, and I did find a copy in my local library, but the font in this particular version is absolutely terrible, so I'm gonna try and get a different edition of the same book. I also have The Machine Stops, which is a short novella by E.M. Forster. The reason why I'm not going to read it right now is because I need to be in the mood to read dystopian novels, and I'm not in the mood for it right now, so I'll just return it because it's distracting me, it's looking at me. I've got so many other books to read that I think I just need to return it for now. And then finally, I also need to return Ethan From by Edith Wharton, and that's because I want to read her bigger novels first. In case you are wondering, I have some helpers with me today. My parents are visiting and they very kindly agreed to hold the camera for me. So no, I'm not driving and trying to film myself. Anyway, I thought I would take you to the library to do a bit of a book haul. Not that I need any more books to read. I still got some library books that I have kept at home. I just thought it would be a great shout out to the libraries because, you know, libraries are probably one of the best social infrastructure concepts ever invented. I know there are a lot of book hauls out there on Booktube where people are showing the books that they have purchased. But let's not forget there are a lot of books that are available for free in your local library. And I just love how that whole concept of libraries helped bring equal opportunities, and I'm the perfect example because, you know, when I was living in communist Poland, my family couldn't afford to buy any books, and it was because of the library books that I've learned about the world, and I always wanted to travel. So in a way, this is why I'm here now, living in England, because of the libraries. So yes, I want to give libraries a bit of a positive spin because unfortunately in the last years about 25% here in the UK have closed. The funding has gone down by 25% and they're doing such a good job and are so important, so I do hope that we will keep maintaining them. Wow, it is very windy today. We are in Guildford. Guildford is about 25 minutes drive from my house. It's a beautiful town. It was properly registered as a town in 1100s. So there's lots of history here. Plus the town's got beautiful high street where I'll probably be taking my parents to lunch. And I'm actually in the car park right now. I've only just parked, but look at this view. Okay, before we even pop into the library, I always, whenever I'm in Guildford, try to come into this store, which is a second-hand bookstore. All the proceeds go to charity. And the best thing about it is that they have a whole section dedicated just to classics. Let's go. I have already spotted one book that one of the subscribers have recommended to me recently, and it has been on my mind because obviously I have heard of it, but it wasn't on my immediate TBR. However, now that I have seen a copy of it here, I think it's a sign. 너와 나 우리의 여름밤 그 세 글자 네 눈에 떠올라 plus of this wonderful charity bookstore is that we have really lovely stuff here. So we've got Joyce.
Hi!
How long you've worked here, Joyce?
Been manager for about 2 years, but I volunteered here 3 years before that.
Oh
so
wow,
about 5
amazing.
years.
And we've got Paul.
Been here 6 years.
And Andy, who's looking down on us from
Hi.
the staircase.
I've been here nearly 6 years, and I'm the one that puts the stamps together.
So there you go. I've purchased 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. I will show them to you later. I spent the whole whopping £16 and I can feel good because all of the money goes to charity. So many books that I wanted to borrow, including this one in memoriam, which was highly recommended to me by one of the subscribers. I will definitely read it because I have heard good things about this book, but not now because it's a very large book. Also, Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood is high on my TBR as well. There were a couple more books by Margaret Atwood. And there were so many new authors I have never heard of before, like this book, for example. Look at this quote. "We are arrows flying from the womb and landing in the graveyard." Loads and loads of classic books if you're looking for inspiration. Just go to your local library. Here you have a whole section of Graham Greene's books. I have one of his books, The End of the Affair, on my bookshelf. And then we have The Beloved To Kill a Mockingbird, and right next to it, Carmilla, which I discovered earlier this year. And because my mum was doing the filming and she's a fantastic cook, we ended up in food and drink section and we browsed through some cookbooks. I actually did end up taking one home. And finally, on the way out, very interestingly, I saw this cover of this book that is the same cover that is on one of the Deborah Levy's books, which I reviewed. Thank you so much. Recipes are just too good.
On the 14th of July.
Perfect. We are back now from Guildford and I have 2 piles of books which I thought I would very quickly show you. One pile is from the library and then the other pile is from the second-hand bookstore. So in the library I actually borrowed today just 3 books, which is me restraining myself. The first one is a modern classic I have never heard of before, and the title is in French. It is Jules et Jim by Henri Pierre Rocher. This is supposed to be some kind of semi-autobiographical debut novel which was also an inspiration for a movie about two friends. I'm intrigued. I will give it a go and I'll see how I get on with it. I didn't want to get too large books because right now I have quite a few books on the go, including War and Peace, which is not going as well as I predicted it to. So I didn't want to get too distracted, but I am kind of a reader that likes to have few books on the go because I will read different book depending on the time of the day and on my mood. So yes, we'll see. And then I've got Jane Austen's Northanger Abbey. I wasn't planning on reading Jane Austen right now. I definitely was planning on reading Jane Austen later this year, but I didn't realize that this particular novel is actually quite small. It only has 243 pages, and the copy I found is in this edition of Penguin English Library, which I love because I find it very comfortable to read. So I thought, I might be in the mood to read that in the summer. And then finally, I do like to borrow recipe books from time to time just to get some inspiration and to get some ideas to cook something different, because I'm not sure about you, but I tend to repeat the same recipes and they, you know, just appear on rotation, and sometimes that gets really boring. And I found this beautiful, beautiful, huge book by Anna Jones, The Modern Cook's Year, 250 vibrant vegetable recipes to see you through the seasons. And I opened it up, and the first page I opened it on had some kind of a gooseberry dessert in it, and gooseberry is one of my favorite fruit. I'm so frustrated that you can't just go to shops and get gooseberries here in the UK. I don't know why, because it's such a cheap fruit to grow, but I absolutely love gooseberries, and so I thought that was a sign. Also, another thing I love about this book is that it has a lot of pictures. Pretty much almost every recipe has a picture. I don't know why I don't trust recipe books that are just words. There's something wrong with it, right? Because we eat with eyes as well, so we want to see the dishes. Or maybe that's just me. Anyway, so that was the library haul, so not too bad, just 3 books. And by the way, what I'm reading right now, let me show you. So these are the books from a library that I have had that I didn't return today because I'm still reading them. So we've got Still Life, highly recommended by one of my subscribers, and I had trouble getting into it, but now I am past the chapter. Oh, actually I don't know which chapter. I'm in this part where you move to the second location in London, and the story for me has picked up quite a bit, so I will definitely continue reading it. I also have The Leopard, again a book recommended to me by a subscriber. I haven't started reading it yet, but I really want to read it, and it's not requested by the library to go back, so I'm gonna keep it for a little bit longer. And I also just recently started reading this book, Long Bright River by Liz Moore, and I love the writing in it. Liz Moore is, I think, more known for her more recent book, The God of the Woods, I think it's titled. I haven't read that one yet, but this one is really amazing. I also have A Ghost in the Throat, which I mentioned in my birthday video. I do want to finish it. I started it and then I stopped reading it just because at the time I fancied something different. This is very much centered around this feminist voice, and having read quite a few novels about women for Women's Prize for Fiction recently, I felt like I needed a break, but I think this is going to be a beautiful novel and I do want to finish it. And then finally, another recommendation by one of my subscribers, The Go-Between by L.P. Hartley, a modern classic that I also want to read at some point. So I have loads of library books that I'm working on right now, and of course, I need to keep making a dent in my War and Peace. And Finally, the pile from the second-hand bookstore. I purchased 6 books. They on average $2.99 or $1.99 each. $1.99. This big one was $3.99 and it was the most expensive book that I bought there, and that is The Count of Monte Cristo. I might tackle it as soon as I finish War and Peace and then Middlemarch, because this falls into the category of these massive books. Normally I'm not crazy about Penguin's edition. I probably would have normally gone for Oxford edition, but it was there. And actually the font is bearable in this edition, so I'm happy with that. I also got, look at this was such a find, Persephone Books edition of Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day by Winfred Watson. I believe this was one of the first books that the Persephone Books published. I hope I'm not wrong, but I have heard of this title, and this is in perfect condition. It also has some drawings in it. Look at this. Very, very happy with this purchase. Then I also saw The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. Brontes are on my list to read next year. I've got Jane Eyre. I read Wuthering Heights last year by Emily Bronte, and it is one of my favorite classics ever. And I do plan to read all of the books by all Bronte sisters, so I thought this would be a good addition. Also, I wanted to show you that this is the vintage edition. I talked about this edition in my video where I was analyzing 19 classic editions, but I thought it would be worth to show you that actually this edition, or maybe this particular book, I don't know, doesn't stand the test of time very well, because the plastic on the cover on the side here is coming off slightly. It doesn't bother me, but I have not seen it on any of the other vintage classics in my collection, so it is a little bit disappointing. And actually this edition scored fairly high in my ranking, so I think if I was re-ranking now, it would have been much lower on my list because of the lack of durability. Okay, and the next 3 books I bought in the second-hand store, I actually have never ever heard of them. We've got Alison Lurie, Foreign Affairs, and the author is, by the way, apparently a winner of the Pulitzer Prize, so I'm looking forward to discovering this writer. And then we've got the winner of the Nobel Prize for Literature, William Golding, and his novel titled Pincher Martin. Again, never heard of this book. Let me know if you've read it. And finally, Max Frisch, Homo Faber. Apparently this is an author that captures that essential anguish of modern men that we find in the best of Camus. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this bit of a vlog. Can we call it a vlog? I would love to hear from you what sort of library finds you most recently had that, you know, maybe surprised you a little bit. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you as always next week. Bye for now.